I want to share with you guys another happy news. Another happy news that's happening in my life right now as a result of Awesome Walkers. I'm really excited about this and really happy. What did she say? Whatever it is, huh? Yeah. So I've been hired by the Jumeirah Group of Hotels as a conversationalist. And what we're doing is,
party is free.
So they have a new hotel which is coming called the Zabil House, and
So we are invited also?
yes, you are invited. So what they do is in a week, 3 days in a week, they invite members of the Greens community, which is next to the hotel, 10 to 12 people, and we have conversations, and I facilitated the conversation to understand what the community needs the hotel to implement to make it a success.
Wow.
And to make the hotel the centerpiece of the community.
Wow.
So a lot of times what happens is there are businesses, there are hotels which say this, but they never, what they do is they think what they are doing is right for the community without taking feedback or asking them what they really want. So here, before they do anything, they're saying, what do you want? And let's see what we can implement for you.
Let's move a little bit.
You should propose to get them a house
When is this going to happen?
to live it and feel what they
When
feel.
is this?
So the Zabil House is opening in November.
Oh, so
It's not yet opened yet. So it's going to open. October, November.
this will start prior.
So it's already started. Since last week it has started. It's not open to public. It's only open to the green community, which is next to the,
Right.
and they have a guest list, and
Excellent. So it's similar? Bravo.
it's not similar, almost. Yeah?
Same but different.
Congratulations.
Same but different, yes. Yes. So,
Congratulations, Samir.
Bravo.
yes. So that was one announcement, which was the best what is that? The 10 things workshop, which is tomorrow. So if you are not able to attend, if you have friends or family or relatives who you think would benefit from a program where they could actually set their goals and identify what their purpose in life is, or are struggling with these kind of questions, then
So we can share.
How many
yes, you can share it with them. Huh?
How many people and numbers wise?
Capacity?
So if I am free, I've done it for even one person.
Really?
I have done it.
It's not worth your time for one person.
So
No, that person.
I'm saying if I am free.
Still, but what is the minimum?
So I'll tell you this. So why have I set for myself the goal of 10,000? The reason why I've set the goal for 10,000 for myself is by 2019, 10,000 people I want to deliver this content for. The reason why I've said this is, out of this 10,000, I'm praying and hoping, and the strategy is 100 of them will become my coaching clients. I'm okay with 1% conversion, and that's fine. So that's the relation that I've set for myself with failure, if you look at it that way. The action that I'm taking for that. And if you look at Awesome Walkers and how it started off, I never set goals or intentions. I never made this a paid event right from the beginning. But somebody gave me this bag. Her name is Reena, and she said, Samir, what you're doing is amazing, but energy has to flow both ways, not just in one direction. And she said, pass this bag around and you'll receive contributions. You don't have to ask anyone for what you want, and you'll receive it in abundance. So what I do is I just let the bag do its round, and by the end, like she says, magic happens. So I'll leave it over there, and Gaurav will. So what you guys have to do is just massage those hands once again and take them apart and put them together for Sujit Sukumaran. How are you?
All well.
So I've known you, we have known each other for quite some time, but still I'm curious to know from the horse's mouth, if I had to ask, who is Sujit Sukumaran?
I would say I haven't figured the full answer to that out yet, because essentially we go through life and we discover that there's so much of stuff within us we didn't know. So I would say, as a person, I'm a son, now I'm a husband, hopefully soon to be a father. You know, life's experiences, roles keep changing. But more than anything else, if you ask me what I am, I've probably am happy that I've graduated beyond the label phase. Like I do stuff for a living, but I no longer choose to define myself by what I do for a living. And in that sense, I would say I'm a lot of like a work in progress, still discovering. If you ask me the same question tomorrow, may not be the same answer, because for me, every day when I wake up in the morning, you know, I always feel when I was born premature, and by the time I actually got up to stand up and start walking, I was like 13, 14. So I always feel that I'm 14 years behind in my life. Now I'm 33.
You still feel that?
Pretty much in some areas not so. Some areas I'm like, okay, God's put me on the Autobahn, so great, praise the Lord.
You're
But
13 years ahead of so many other people?
Yeah.
yes, probably. If the public acknowledges it, great, well and good, touch wood. But that feeling has always been there, that, you know, it took me 15 years to get up and move until the time, you know, I used to be carried around by people.
And how was this 15 years?
Those 15 years were, if I can say, quite frustrating, because you had a mind inside you that was moving, that was expressive, but your body couldn't keep up with what your mind was thinking about. And you were perceived in so many different ways that you did not choose to be judged. But yet, because, like I said, that's again a label, because obviously what you see today, physically at least, is a product of, say, 15, 16 years of continuous physiotherapy, over 5 surgeries. I probably couldn't even sit on a beanbag at the age of 5 or 6. I had to be carried around. I had a squint in my right eye. I had a curved spine. I used to drool. If you used to ask me what my name, the fundamental thing people don't understand is that advocacy is first to be within the individual rather than the institution. It is then to be within the family than the institution or the workplace. And then it is to be in the society rather than the construct. Which means, if you cannot reorganize the brain and the heart and the soul of a person who is feeling that he is a marginalized person because of disability into believing that that's only because that's the reflection that society is giving him, and not because he or she is actually bad in any way. Until we actually get it to the grassroots level, advocacy will not work at the helicopter level. So for me, advocacy means that. I do not associate myself with any organizations, not because they're good and bad or bad, but because I realize with a sense of wisdom that where any more than 2 people meet, there is bound to be association. Where there is association, there is bound to be emotion. Where there is emotion and association, there is bound to be politics. And where there is politics, there's bound to be corruption. If you can be spiritual, if not attached to an organized religion, understand that God's balance is very interesting. The moment He gives you a failure, He is obliged to give you a success. So when I get hit, I'm like, okay, I know it will come back with interest in a good way. You take your time. I don't have a problem, because the more you take time to give me the good thing, you're accruing interest. That's good for me. So take your time. I'm cool. But more than anything else, understand that whoever comes in, whoever goes out, has a role and a purpose. Don't judge the purpose, don't judge the role, don't judge the person. Just understand it as, why are they here and why am I here? What part of the journey am I at? The moment you see, it's about developing something that we call in the Buddhist philosophy as a detached attachment. It's an oxymoron, which I'm aware, but it's a very profound term. If you can be like the lotus, you are in muck in the lake, yet there's a wax on top of you that does not allow any kind of the muck to actually get inside you. Then you're at that detached attachment. If you can feel the same kind of pain when the neighbor's child dies, as much as when it is your child who dies, then you are at detached attachment. When you really don't really care what the outcome is and you still work, that is detached attachment. Because then eventually, whether people appreciate you or not, your bank account with God is solid. It's like, play poker all you want, make it 12 rounds. I don't care. I'll get my royal flush at the end. But the question is, what is your relationship? I don't even care whether you want to call him God, because God is a product of an institution. But you must understand that with all the talk of Masa doing about alignment and energies and all that, we agree and appreciate and accept that each of us is a ball of energy, or a bundle of joy or misery or whatever we may. Both of it has energies. When a kid is born, we call it a bundle of joy. When you get your second wife, you're like bundle of misery. Whatever you choose to call her, they have an energy. When you understand that you charge your mobile phone once in a day, correct? Even if it's the best iPhone or whatever, how many times do you charge yourself in the day? Where is the plug? Where is the USB slot? Anyone knows where the USB slot is for charging yourself? No.
Meditation?
See, you understand that a mobile is a device, correct?
Yes.
It has a hole, which is a slot, where you have to put a wire to charge it. Now, we assume that we are also a device. Where are our slots?
Right?
Yes.
The ears, the eyes, 5 senses.
The 5 senses. The ears, the eyes, the mouth, the nose, and the genital organs. And actually, 5 senses and the 9 holes you have in your body. Any of those 9 holes can give you transformative experiences. Simple stuff. Imagine your stomach is full early in the morning. There are 10 people waiting in front of the bathroom and you're the 11th person. Delaying is not equal to nirvana. If you jump the queue and become the first person, what do you feel? You will feel that God exists right there in between those 4 walls. You don't need anything else.
I've experienced it.
So,
Experience nirvana.
yeah, and everyone knows. See, and same way if you take your mouth, you can eat, that's pleasure for yourself. You can speak, probably that's pleasure for other people. Probably that's misery for other people as well. So that's also a hole where you can charge. The ears, where you keep quiet and you keep listening, that's also 2 holes you have to charge. You smell. How many times have you smelled your food before eating it? There's now a research which says that if you smell your food before you eat it, there are a lot less chances that you'll eat more portions. Dogs do this all the time. They're not stupid. How many times have you seen an obese dog?
Never.
Unless if it's domesticated by obese people who give it things to eat. So then it's a different story. But how many times have you seen a dog who has diabetes, or a dog who has flab or love handles? You will never see a dog like that, or you will never see a cat like that, unless their owners are also like that. Then it's a lifestyle problem.
Smelling.
Yeah.
Is it only about smelling the food?
See, what happens is there's something called the olfactory Gralen reflex, which means Gralen is a hormonal secretion which is sort of like the Pavlovian impulse. Like the moment you smell biryani, for example, something happens inside your system. That is Gralen. So smelling it, you can feel the cardamom, you can feel the cloves, you can feel the masala, everything. Then you're already 30% okay. And the remaining 30% is wait for 20 minutes after you eat, because it takes some time for the message to travel back to your brain that you're full. So between that 30% and this 30% is the remaining 40%. That is all you need to eat. If you understand that, simple. Same, use the 30-30-40 principle for the holes which are called the ears. 30% of what you listen to is valuable in your day. The remaining 30% is politically motivated stuff by people with vested interests. Maybe your mom, maybe your wife, maybe your colleague who wants to demotivate you or do whatever. That 30%. Remaining 40% is when you shut up and when you take stock of the remaining 60%, what is the impact that it has on my life. So you see, in prayer, they say, okay, when you go and you stand in front of God or the deity and you beg for a Christmas list or whatever, you are blabbering and God is listening. Now imagine there's so much competition, 6 billion people, irrespective of the God you worship, 6 billion people asking X number of questions per day, per hour. It's like a super jam telephone exchange. Assuming that God works at the speed of light even, that is around 8 million people per minute, which will take him around 3.5, 4 hours to address the entire world and come back to you. So that there's only 6 times in the whole day, 24 hours, that he can do that.
Multiple gods.
Even if you look at multiple gods, still, even then, if you subvert it also, still you are looking at least 10,000 people have to go, then get a cycle and come back. So
imagine Google.
yeah.
You get immediate answers.
Even then,
come on.
no, even then, the point I'm trying to make is 30, 60 will be supplied. The remaining 40 is where it actually makes the difference. You pray, you ask, okay? Something and all you'll receive. It's better not to ask, because if you don't ask anything, there are no expectations, and sometimes you may even end up getting better than what you asked for. Because if you see the concept of the deity in all the major religions, there's one line which is common, which says he or she or whatever the divine form is beyond language and is beyond syntax, meaning it's non-definable. It's an undefinable supreme energy. So you are trying to address God with limited language, maybe Arabic, maybe English, maybe Sanskrit, whatever it is. There are only X number of words in the vocabulary. Spirituality or God or the higher power is a feeling. You know, like when you are in...
Just pause you over there and ask you something related to what you just said.
Yeah.
When you ask,
Mm.
do you feel that it is a wiring that you're doing to your subconscious mind so that you will actually trigger and do the actions that is necessary to achieve what you want? So God, actually, when they say God resides in you, it's the subconscious mind that you're conversing with, and which propels you to take the actions that is actually required without you even realizing that you're actually...
See, in part you are right, but what are the elements of the subconscious mind? You have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. You also, when I say the sympathetic nervous system, it is subject to the influences of people around you. So that is not only your subconscious mind, because you can't say, okay, I have my subconscious mind.
But actually, they are your subconscious mind. Everything that is,
yes,
it's part of
but
different filters that you have
even in that, there is a passive subconscious mind and there is an active subconscious mind, and that is what the problem is. For some people, their subconscious is totally passive. It's something that comes up in their dream state, or that what they are unaware about. It's like the iceberg.
My question is, God is an entity, and there is what they say within ourselves. So is it the wiring that is within us?
Very much. See, the wiring, good you brought that metaphor of wiring. There's something called magnetic induction, where you used to wind coils and get magnetic energy out. You need to wire yourself and crack the jack every day, so that the jack in the box can jump out. It's not enough to do it one day. You need to keep on doing it every day. Question is, what purpose are you cracking the jack for today? Because every day if you keep cracking the jack for the same thing, you will only get a little better at the same thing that you want to do. Rather, choose a goal for every single day. When I wake up in the morning, every day, I'm like, today I want to be X% better at this particular thing. If I don't achieve anything else in the day, I don't really care. But as long as I'm a little bit better at that one thing which I sought out to achieve at the beginning of the day, mission accomplished. So if you break what you want, and I'll tell you, there are very few people at this level who are hyper focused with what they want to achieve. And if you're dogged in your pursuit in terms of, I will get it somehow or the other, you know, law of attraction or whatever, Rhonda Byrne made a lot of money out of it. It's been there for more than 5,000 years, even before she thought of the book. In all Eastern spirituality, religions, anywhere, we've all had it. You ask, you will get. If you don't ask also, you will get. What people don't understand is, sometimes it's best not to ask. Just be prepared when the chance comes. I would rather fall into that bracket, that what happens if I keep asking for an opportunity and I get it, but then I'm so excited that I'm not ready yet. I would rather be ready for it when whatever opportunity comes. I take it with both hands.
You remind me of this day when I was 17 when I bought a lottery ticket and I couldn't sleep the whole night. I promised never to buy a lottery ticket after that because I was thinking of all the things that I would buy with the money. But yes, what you're saying is...
See, another thing. See, I'm one of the people. I'm one of the people who believes in a very simple, old, stupid adage, which is like a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I do not believe in acts of chance or circumstance, except when it comes to human spirit and endeavor. I've never invested in a lottery ticket. Rather, I would invest. Yeah. Even then, I don't have that kind of money to splurge. Yeah. Then okay. No, but I'm thinking about probably the big ticket or something like that. Is 500. If I were to take that 500 dirhams, I would probably invest it in equity or do an SIP or something. That makes much more sense. I have something I can look at. But the question is about more than that. Is about. It doesn't matter anymore because Alexander taught this, not this Alex, but Alexander the Great taught it to us many, and not your dad also. So Alexander the Great taught it to us many years back that when he died somewhere on top of Turkey, Asia Minor as it was called that day, that he instructed the Sartaps who were carrying his coffin to put both of his hands outside the coffin like that. Like I conquered the whole world, I couldn't take anything back with me. So that guy couldn't take anything back with him. Then what's the point of all the riches that you get from Babylon to Barcelona when you can't take it back with yourself? But the only riches that you can probably leave behind are not even the cash, are the memories with the people that you make who will remember you for times and times to come.
Why is that important?
That is important because that grace carries through to many generations.
Why is that important?
I would say, for example, a lot of what I am today is probably because of the good things my parents have done. A lot of people who knew my father, sometimes I just tell them I'm his son and the red carpet rolls out. Now, I'm only, shocked at the fact and awed at the fact that 18 years post a guy's death, who was not even a super big shot in the country, his name is enough to get me things. I don't even throw his name around. They probably find out about it and they say, you're his son. Oh. So I'm like, my goal is forget about dying because I have a lot of greed towards life, not to accumulate assets, but I want to live as long as I can. I want to enjoy everything in life. And I want to live a full life. So my goal is, my dad was able to get this kind of a dialogue and respect even when he was alive and post his death, even with his limited education, financial resources, whatever. Compared to that, I've had the luxury of having been educated in some of the best institutions in the world. I've had a head start because they've done exceptionally well for me in giving me financial background and assets and all that. So given that parameter, if my dad could do it in 40 years, I'm slower, right? I need to, he passed away at 45 and he's already done a legacy. I'm 33, I think I should be there by 36, 38. Otherwise, there's no point because I have much more advantages than he had in his time. So the question is, like you asked me, why is that important? As a progressive generation, as humans, if we have iPhone, X, then the next model, then the next model. Inanimate devices like these come up with updates. But if we can't improve over the previous generation and leave a legacy for the future generation to learn from, like, I should be something like this, then what's the point?
I love what you just now said, and I'll tell you why. We started off the conversation tonight where you said you felt you were 13, 14 years behind.
Mm-hmm.
And now what you're saying is you have a head start and your head. It's amazing how in different contexts your perception of time and how you look at yourself is different.
True. Because
It's awesome.
life keeps changing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I bring you back to the original point that as long as you're not running a race to breast the tape, or as long as you're not hankering behind a label, see, you're never going to be probably rich enough for people to really know you. And I'm telling you, the richest people in the world are not known. if you're telling me that Bill Gates is the richest in the world, he is the richest declared person in the world.
He's not.
Jeff Bezos is now with Amazon's valuation going above $1 trillion.
Yeah.
But even there are people in the world who have much more money than Jeff Bezos. They can't come on Forbes. That's the problem. So what's the point of having all that money in the world? Nobody knows about you. I would rather be loved and respected by 10 people who like me. I feel like a millionaire, a billionaire. I don't really care. What's the big deal? So question is, you don't need a bank balance. You don't even need a bank account. The question is, how many people are willing to open an account in a bank called yourself? What do you have in terms of riches and collateral to offer them?
You know what?
Wow.
I've been very selfish tonight. I have not opened the questions to the audience. I had so much to ask you, but a few questions. Who wants to go? We have crossed the time. Is it okay with you for some more? Go ahead.
He mentioned regarding, like you mentioned regarding numbers, how you divide, like working with the senses. Is it a theory? Because you said like 30 tests.
See, some of these are, like from, I am a junior student in that University of Life. So she's at the PhD level with her age. I'm probably at the bachelor's level. But these things come with life. And it may, like the only reason I'm telling you this 30, 40 is not to sound intelligent, but it's because it's worked for me. A different version of the permutation combinations may work for you. And that's what life is about. If you're able to learn from the mistakes of other people, you're the smartest person. And once you become the smartest person in the room, it's time to change the room. Because then it's disaster if you stay in the same place. So always be, whenever you go to places. Now, the only thing I pray is, like I was coming to Awesome Walkers today. Okay, I know what I'm going to talk to them about. But I hope that I can receive something. Now, for me, it might be a piece of information. For me, it might be somebody I didn't know, like Izar is somebody I don't know from before. Probably I'll meet him before I go home today. New friend added to the inventory, whatever. Be rich in people, because you don't know whose help you will need when and who can be useful when. I have seen this happen many, many times in life. The smallest, most insignificant of people who you don't want to associate with, karma has a way of reminding you that they will come to you at the right point where you're like, oh shit, I have to get this from this guy.
Absolutely.
They're like, oh, why wasn't I nice to him? And the fact is, you know what's a slap on the face? You know what's a slap on the face? They will remember, but they will let it go. And then you feel small. And then you feel, why wasn't I the nice guy? This happens in cycles. Then you're like, okay, nothing matters. Chill. I'm a nobody. You're a speck in the galaxy. Go do your work. Simple. So, different things might work for different people. Find your formula. The sooner you find it, the happier you'll be. And there's no age. If you find it earlier, work out some other equation. The problems will keep coming. As long as you are a solution provider, raise your standards. Simple.
Another simple way to say this: find your circle of genius.
Good question.
Find your circle of genius.
For all the past 10 years as a Toastmaster, I find you to be one of my heroes. There are 3 heroes I call in Toastmasters. Muhammad Murad, yourself,
Samir Geepee.
You're really a star.
What's the third one? Who's the third one?
Muhammad Murad, who's the...
Okay, Balaji.
Okay, very good.
Really. These 3 figures have actually, they are who I am because of you 3. I was privileged to work with you when I was division governor. I have been introduced to a lot of Indian dishes because of you. But honestly speaking, when it comes for a marriage life, in the house, let's be very honest.
Yeah.
With a wise man like that, with a full of wisdom, who does most of the talking?
Still he does most of the talking.
They're used to it. So.
Now the question here is, there is something I want to say. How do we really get the balance when we live with people who are asking for more? Because when I sit with you, I always ask for more. I learn more, so I become hungry for more.
Simple. Get a bigger cup. You can only give as much as you can contain. It's like this. I have bills to pay. Like for example, my rent, if it's 100,000 dirhams a year, I can always cry that my salary is not enough, I'm working 3 jobs and still I have a credit card which I'm unable to pay. Or I can shut out the useless jobs and do a side hustle and make 10 times that money. The fact is the variable of time remains the same. That now this is a financial example. Now coming to an emotional example, you'll always have people who want more and more from you in life. If you keep giving, that's when you feel depression, lost, lack of energy. Then some people are there who are like scorpions, they will take and they'll sting you back again. This thing happens. So only thing you can do is, you can only give as much as you have. And there is a limited capacity to that cup. And wear and tear happens in that cup also. So every 6 months, every quarter, depending on how much you want to give, get a bigger cup. If you have the ocean, it doesn't matter if someone takes a bucket every day, because there is enough for everyone. Question is, are you beyond the body? Are you beyond physique? Are you beyond your structure? Because I realized this very young in my life, that with my body there are limited things I can do for people. If someone asks me to drive them down, or if someone asks me to carry them or help them with bags, I still don't do the grocery bags. As a married man, it's a blessing. You don't have to cook, you don't have to do the grocery. Your mother still does the laundry for you because you have a disability. Praise the Lord, you know. Seriously. Seriously.
That's taking undue
So,
advantage.
you know, even when we hang the clothes out to dry, you sit.
He'll come back with interest, he told you.
So maybe the next life, but this life I have a get out of jail free card. So that's how it is. So get your cup bigger, because otherwise you will feel tired and you will die faster and you will die unhappy. So get your cup bigger. If you can't make your cup bigger, associate with people who have bigger cups. Leverage on their time. Like Samir was saying, there's something called a mastermind circle. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It can be groups, many groups of 5. Invest in a good mentor, either monetarily. Now I hang out with mentors who have 10 times my net worth. I cannot pay them because that's like peanuts for them. But the stuff they drive me to do is, they're like, yeah, you're much smarter than we were at our age. You're doing half the stuff that you're doing. Then, oh shit, I'm not doing this much in my life. What can I do? Consistently re-evaluate. People often ask me, how do you find this much time? I'm a person who is not an early riser, okay? I sleep as long as I want. One of the main reasons I started my own business is I didn't want to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go to work. And I didn't want to be told when to come home or when to take a vacation. Once I started, I thought, okay, the best thing is become an entrepreneur. You can take vacation whenever you want. Honest fact is, after I've become an entrepreneur, I've hardly seen a Friday or Saturday where I could relax. But it's fun. It's fun because you're living your dream. That's what you felt. And when you have that, you have unlimited energy. And sometimes it's just a small twist in the screw. You give one nugget to someone, they're like, wow, this is profound. Like, this is normal stuff. But they feel it's profound because you're saying it from wisdom and accrued experience. That makes a difference. And one thumb rule, if you want to get super energy, every day at least 40 to 50 minutes, keep silent. Because after...
Sammy?
No, not the Sammy in particular, but anyone.
45 minutes.
Because what happens after 45 minutes of silence is, first 20-21 minutes, your body quietens down. You can start to feel your heartbeat and hear all the vital signs and all that. The next 15 minutes, your brain chatter goes down, so you're in the moment, you're focusing, you can hear your breath. The next 15 minutes is when the magic happens, that the brain starts rewiring. Okay, what is it preparing me for? Then what happens after that, when you go into a situation, what comes out of your mouth is like bang on target. And they're like, where did this come from? Wow. All the wisdom that you need is already within you. You just need to extract it like an oil driller, from the rig, bring it outside. The problem is there's so much of ADHD around us. It's now become a fashionable disease. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder doesn't exist only in mental institutions. If you have 2 mobile phones and you have Facebook, this is ADHD. Enough. So sometimes detox is necessary. When you do that, that's why practices like Vipassana, which force you to go on a 10-day retreat, this is very difficult. It's not a joke. You sit there away from civilization, and you're wondering. Then you come back. It's after you do Vipassana and come back, it's like going to Oman on the weekend and coming back to Dubai. How do you feel? It's same like, what is this? Same like that. But multiply the Oman effect by 10 times. That's how it is. It's like going to Jabal Akhdar and sitting there for 20 days and then coming back. How does it feel? That's what it is. So take a step back, make your cup bigger. You'll have enough water to give everyone.
So you're saying going to Oman is like Vipassana?
Yeah, I love Oman.
Yes.
No, I just wanted to ask you something about the meditation. What do you do with the chatter? You know, like even if you go to church,
See, what the mind resists persists. Don't fight it. Let it come. It'll come, it'll crawl like a swarm of ants all around your body and your mind. After a point, your brain can only process so much.
Do you keep an alarm for that 50 minutes, or how do you sort of?
No. Now I've got enough experience with that.
But somebody.
See, when you start practicing, don't aim for 40 minutes. You will not even be able to sit for 2 seconds over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So every day what you do is do it in breaks of 10-second increments. The smaller the task, the easier your mind thinks it is to do. First day do 10 seconds, next day do 20 seconds, next day do half a minute, next day do 40 seconds. Over time, like in 9 months, if you do this one, you can sit for 8 hours without anything moving you, 8 to 9.5 hours in 9 months. Imagine if you can get that still focus. You're in a boardroom, there's a shitstorm going on, there's a tornado, you walk in, everyone's screaming, shouting, arguing with each other. You're like, okay, everyone, quiet, what are the items on the agenda? 1, 2, 3, 4. You have your silence battery is ready. You whip it out and you're like, okay, this is the problem, this is the solution, this is the problem, this is the solution, this is the problem, this is the solution. You're like, oh, now we know why you're the boss. I'm like, this is the secret stuff. If you keep quiet, your body is the greatest healer. It gives you answers. When you get a disease, what you see on the outside is only the symptom. What you have to do is see what's causing it on the inside. Nothing happens. Like he said correctly, failure is an outcome of many stupid actions that you continue to repeat and ignore the warning signals for. So similarly, let it go. Don't resist. If it resists, it will persist.
Or something, or some
Yes, but
like while meditation.
when I do music, I do 2 types of music. I do lyrical, I do non-lyrical music. When I do lyrical music, it's because I want to get my brain jogging. Only lyrics which make sense, not like heavy metal and all. That is that is like brainstorming. You know, the West has brainstorming. In the East, we say like no. Yeah, in the last 10 days of Ramadan, you do itkaf.
Yeah.
Yes. So why you need to restrict it only to last 10 days?
To be honest, I was going to say, when you were saying meditation, we do, a lot of elderly, wise people, they do between sunrise and sunset.
From 5 to 6.
From 4 to 6.
It's actually called the twilight time, because that is a time when the oxygen is the highest in the atmosphere. Yeah,
4 to 6.
between any time when it is neither of the halves of the day. It depends. If you're doing it in the morning, it's like 4:30 to 6. That is not my time.
I'm meditating anyway.
Yeah. So
That's why you do sun salutations.
it can either be in the morning, but if you're not a morning person, you're not screwed. There is a point between like 4:30 in the evening to 6 when the sun is setting also, where it has the similar stuff. It's not as good as the top one, but it's a decent substitute.
Outside or inside? It's fine.
Ideally outside, because you need the sun. The sun is the nourisher of everything.
But there's no substitute for the morning.
Yeah, there's no substitute for the morning, but depends. If you're a night person, then you would rather substitute it with anything else. So for me, I tell you, somebody calls me before 7:30 in the morning, either I won't pick up the phone. You're lucky if I pick the phone, you're dead. So I won't pick the phone. Because I get a headache, I can't go to the bathroom properly because my system is not programmed for that, and my whole day gets affected. Until 11:30, 12, I don't think straight, and I don't do coffee, I don't do tea. So I don't have that fix that you pump a shot and you're okay. This lasts, until 2:33 in the afternoon, I'm like, what happened? But the same thing, if I wake up at least at 8 o'clock, peaceful. The same thing 1.5 hours before, disaster. So you need to know your body clock very well. if you are your best doctor and if you are your best friend, you will not only be able to heal yourself, you will also be able to give the medicine and solution antidote to many other people. You don't need drugs. Like I was a person early this year, I used to go every month twice to the doctor. My doctor and I were working out in Fitness First the other day. This guy from Karnataka, he has a peculiar accent. He comes and says, "What, Sujit? Now long time not seen in hospital anymore." I'm like, "Why you stop coming?" I'm like, "Doctor, it's not some festival place every week I see." Say, no. Before you are very regular. No, now I am missing. I am not seeing you like before. So I'm like, that's the point. I don't want to see you like before. So the point is, now for him, I am sort of like his soulmate. If he doesn't see me once a week, he has a problem. So question is, life changes. Things move on. You get healthy. Now I am lucky. I see my doctor in Fitness First, not in Aster Medical Clinic. So that's what it should be. Meet all the people you want to meet in life, but meet them at places which are beneficial to you, which are conducive to you, and not conducive to them. As long as this happens, life is peaceful.
I mean, after your dad died, who was your inspiration? Because there was so
That lady. You can see this lady in the pink sari. She's my mother.
you had so many things going on. You were very attached to him, and there was so much that you had to overcome between.
No, that is true. But whenever, and this is a message for everyone, whenever you're in a hard time, simple frame of reference to come out of it, snap out of it, is to think of someone who's going through harder stuff. Like, I was a kid, okay, I love my dad, I still love my dad, very attached to him. It was like the ground went from under our feet, we didn't know what to do, and my dad was not an ordinary dad, he was like super attached to me. So he was like the doctor, the motivator, the everything. Then suddenly you just take this guy and you don't understand death the mature way you do when you do it at 25, 30, then okay, there is a life, this is a casket, you will go one day anyway, so as simple as that. But at 11 or 12, suddenly one guy is there and one day he is not there anymore. You go to the room and he's not there, his clothes are there, it all seems the same, but the person is not there anymore. So that kind of shock was definitely there. I was so much in shock that I didn't even cry when he passed away, because he was a kind of father who used to say, he's very pragmatic about life. He's like, one day daddy, mummy will not be there. You need to know how to tie your laces, put your underwear, wash your clothes, do your things on your own. I don't know when that time will come, but it will come. He used to tell me that every time we used to do something new or learn something new. So when it came, I'm like, you were talking about this, it happened. But it took a while to sink in that he's not going to come back again. And that's probably the hardest thing I even have to deal with as an adult today.
How did you deal with anger issues, or
Simple. Whenever I got irritated or angry or whatever, two things. One, I will resign to the fact that he's not going to come back. But the greatest thing is, I looked at my mother. She lost a husband who she fell in love with and married. She lost her support system. My mother was a working woman at that time. She was working with the bank, but the job was just as a support to my dad, not as a ambitious breadwinner kind of thing. And then she had this choice where she was out of her mind in terms of emotional balance. Hordes of relatives coming and telling her to wrap up everything, leave this country, go back and settle down in India. One kid in 10th. One kid in second year of dentistry, which is an expensive profession anywhere in the world. 3 more years of lakhs of fees to pay. Single breadwinner, and everyone has an opinion, how it is. And this is what it is. Opinions are good, but practically use only what will work in your life. For her to then say, and then some people came up with creative solutions like, why don't you get married again, it's good for the kids. Now try telling that to someone who fell in love at 15, 16 and been married to the same person for 25 years. It's not something like you change your dress, you change. So she's like, I don't need a partner or a companion or anything. Now I will live for my children. And single-handedly from that point, say from 2000 when he passed away in May, Now in 2018, I'm at a point where, touchwood, I'm married, I'm settled, my sister's settled, she has kids, mom is a grandmother, everything's okay. But in these 18 years, the first 6 or 7 years were baptism by fire. It was continuously re-guessing, reassessing our priorities. Are we down and out, or do we still have another round to play? And in all these years, I had my demons to fight. I'm not saying no. But any time I felt that I was going to break, I just did one thing. I just compared it with what she's going through. And then it became like holding a candle to the sun, like, what is this? So that's what I always say. For a lot of people say, okay.
She was your son.
Yeah.
And you were her son.
If you want to put it that way. But
Wow.
always aspire for more. Be ambitious. Want more things in life. Work towards it. But always be gratitious and have gratitude for how far you've come. Because I sometimes, Samir asked me, how do I deal with failure? I often say, okay, I sent a proposal for a business. It didn't come through. Fine, but when did I get to the point of being a businessman? Only after I came up out of my disability and was able to think and walk properly. Imagine that 15 kids who started with me are still in walkers or are still in Pampers, shitting the bed or peeing in their pants. They can't even recognize their parents. Compared to that, how many gifts has God given me? So if you look at that, how far you've come, and I'm sure no matter how successful or how unsuccessful by your own thinking you might feel you might be, there are at least 10 times more things to be grateful for when you compare how far you've come from than if you compare how far you're going to go to, because the future is not guaranteed. The past is already finished. If you appreciate the past and you live in the present, you're the most contented soul that they can be. So it's very simple. I never let my problems get under my skin. I just have a detached view to it. Why is it happening? This also helps me deal with people, because sometimes I don't like what certain people do. But that doesn't mean I don't love the person or I don't like the person itself. I don't like what they do. That's alone. If I have a problem with my subordinate or my colleague at work, it's with the task that they have done. In the evening, I can still go out with him and have fun, eat dinner with him or go to a movie with him. The only problem is, especially in the Eastern cultures, we don't understand this barrier, that it's still possible to love the doer despite his action. The moment you reach to that position, then even you will apply it in your life. It's like body odor. You don't realize it, but everyone around you knows that it's there. The moment you separate okay, I know I have body odor, then you come to a root cause analysis. What is causing it? Didn't I take bath? Didn't I use the right soap? Did I eat the wrong stuff? Did I eat too much of garlic, or what is it? The moment you separate the task from the function, the doer from the deed, life is lovely, because you don't judge anymore. It's like, you might have smited me in the past, but that's not who you are today, and it definitely doesn't have to be who you are tomorrow. I still love you just the same.
Wow. I have just one more question. Where did graphology come in?
That is a bunch of whole other esoteric things that I enjoy
But that's
doing.
great, because not everybody is a graphologist. And
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm in it. No, there's no point of being somebody in something where everybody's.
So you still practice it? I mean,
Yes,
you
very
still,
much.
so if we write something, you can
Send me an email. Send me an email.
An email?
Yeah.
An email will not show you my handwriting.
Write your stuff on a piece of paper, scan it, and send it to me.
She's going to send her email,
Yeah, send me an email.
Interesting. No, that's a very eye-catching.
But having said that, a graphologist or a psychologist or anyone cannot do, even a life coach, both of us are, and few other people in this room also are. None of us can do anything for anyone unless they want to do something for themselves. So,
when I'm listening to your story, I just had an observation. Not taking away any of your experience, not. I don't know how to put it, but I'm just going to put it out there bluntly. I feel your father passed away, but that actually accelerated your transformation.
very much.
If he was around, you probably would have taken
Very much,
so
very
more
much,
time,
very much. Because I would say he was protective, yes, but he was also pushy and motivating and determined.
His greatest gift to you, what I truly believe is
He launched you.
Yeah,
the way he shaped your mind.
I fully feel that his passing was a legacy in terms of what I am today. To put it very simply, because if you knew him until he was there, we didn't need anybody or anything else. We all revolved around him. Whether it was my mom or my sister, myself, even people who used to work with him or were his friends, he was sort of like the epicenter of the solar system. Why I say that is, it's only when you lose something that you think you cannot survive with that you understand that there is a survival instinct in every one of us, and that you have a survivor. You don't know how strong you are until you are pushed to be to the point that being strong is all that you have. Question is, are you doing that to yourself every day? If you do, push yourself to get strength every day into a position of no return, you will become the best survivor that there is ever in the world. Then nothing can phase you.
Yes.
I'm like, I wake up every morning, I'm like, do whatever you want. As long as I'm alive, I'll bounce back.
So what happens if you have zero balance in
It
the...
doesn't matter. I have my brains, my hands and legs are working. I have enough friends. I'll call them and get a loan. I'll launch a business. Within 6 months, I'll be back on track.
I want you to ask a question, anything to him.
You can give the mic.
I can ask him anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that we get to know him better.
Just
Ask
for
a
us.
question to him so that we get to know him better in some way.
Go ahead. That is
This is your chance.
I can't think of anything right now.
There are many. She cannot think of any question. She cannot agree.
Mama is saying I don't have any pension.
I have asked questions and answered, got many answers from him.
No, it's not. See,
It's
the
not for
question
an
is not
answer
for
from
you.
his side.
The
We
question is
understand.
not for you to get the answer. It's for us to get an answer.
Yeah, for us
Can
to
I ask-
understand it better.
Yeah, Iman wants to ask one question, so
So let her ask first.
and then she'll think.
It's for you.
It's okay.
Question is for you.
Oh, it's for her. Your question is for her.
Okay,
Oh,
yes, please ask her.
very good.
Yeah, how did you know he's the one for you?
This is a long story.
Actually, that was
Love marriage?
yeah.
Okay.
So it was very quick. In fact, within a month of meeting each
Yeah.
other, we knew like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a month.
It just-
That was quick.
Was he doing the grocery when you met him?
You're very quick in certain things.
He has never been to the supermarket, huh? So far I've seen, I know
Yeah.
him for like 4.5 years
Yeah.
now. Like we are married for two and a half years, but he is not going to grocery shop.
Like I said, I'm blessed.
With interest, you get things.
He doesn't want to go.
See, I'll tell you why.
He thinks it's a waste of time.
No, no. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. One is she's right halfway, but the more troubling thing, the more troubling thing is why I don't like to go to shopping malls, supermarkets, places like this is I can't stand for a long time, and they don't have enough sitting places. Now the more posher stores like M&S, Zara and all, they have a dedicated man couch where you're supposed to park your husband, give him a device and go and do the stuff. They do.
Are you kidding?
Serious, no, that's where most of the men sit, and you will make many guy friends over there if you're a husband. It's like, okay. So, most of the stores you find, not near the fitting room.
Not near
It's a bit away. It's a bit away. It has mirrors on. It has mirrors on all four sides, and it has couches on all four sides, and all
the fitting room. There will be many men.
and all the guys come here, and it's sort of like an Alcoholics Anonymous. Oh, your wife too? My okay. That's where some best friendships are formed. It starts. So
Wow.
that's why I don't go. If you can
I
get.
still can't think of a question.
If they can get me a motorized sitting wheelchair, I'm happy to go wherever it is. And ask her that. Ever since we've got married, she's very happy because whenever we fly in the air,
I don't have to stand in the queue.
What do you mean fly in the air?
Oh, I see. Okay.
when we take a flight, I always opt for a wheelchair, even though I can walk,
Yeah.
because of two reasons. One, the wheelchair doesn't let anyone who's along with you feel the pain of carrying you around.
Okay.
Number two, you get express service even if you don't make it before 1 hour before your flight. Number three, and this we experience personally, is even if you are late, they have to board you because the Geneva Convention says that there's a 50,000 euro fine to the airline if a wheelchair passenger or a pregnant passenger is not boarded. Yeah.
Really?
Which means last time we went to Salalah, she had some problem with her passport, like the guy who was at the counter forgot to stamp it. We realized it only when we were at the boarding gate, because I have this habit of checking, because we don't want to get back and then get in trouble. Then we had to go back all the way. The whole fly-by flight had boarded, and if you've ever traveled with a person with a wheelchair, it's a nice experience. We get something like an AC cabin. You actually get hoisted from the opposite side of the cockpit. So imagine the pilots are waiting, like some drivers, like when this guy will come. And there are around 150 people, and then they're like, why the flight is not going? Why the flight? So then the people are like, there is one more passenger and his family is coming. So then we get hoisted, and this door opens from the other side. So they're probably thinking it's like some celebrity or some minister. And I walk in with my swagger. Everyone's looking at me, yeah, love you all. So that happens. That happens. And it's cool. No, because if someone stares at you, I do that. Hi, oh. So that's the way you can cool them down. Then they're like, okay, this guy is too crazy. Don't pick a fight with him. So sometimes in life, that has a model also. Sometimes in life, especially for someone like me who's not strong physically enough, it's about knowing which fights to pick and which are more sensible to avoid.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's okay if I'm stupid, if I don't get beaten up. I'm fine with it. So, wash away your ego like a bar of soap. Every day it gets lesser and lesser. Fair enough. I don't care. I'm not bothered about winning every battle. But I'm bloody focused on winning the war. That's not something I leave. Every day you want, you can punch me. But the last round, I will get you through. So that's, I'll tell you.
It's almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Card, okay. I saw the deck before.
Seriously.
But
But every card is a different one. And before he picks and shares, what are you inside? What is it that you guys are taking away?
So many things.
No,
Wake up to the brain.
Since childhood, we've been taught 2 is bigger than 1, 3 is bigger than 2, and 4 is bigger than 3. Today I realize 40 is much more bigger than 100.
What is what?
40 is much more bigger than 100.
yeah, that personal 40.
I didn't realize this could be the other way around. Amazing how a person can change. And I always keep telling Samir, we teach our children how to be afraid, how not to do things. They come in the purity in all aspects, but we spoil them. And today I see a product which your parents have done amazing, unbelievable.
Thank you.
I mean, this is, I would say, the best toss of walker session we have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's and each of them, this is one session I'll definitely look forward for the recording because there's so much of it, and
because
he
it's
adds
so
to
fast.
No. What I mean is, there's so much of gold in it. You have to listen back.
So there is gold and diamond.
I mean, like Sunita is taking down notes. Even I would do that.
I was trying to. You're talking so
go
fast.
back.
Actually, I couldn't.
No, because there's so much. Your greed towards life is amazing.
Have you read your book or something?
Working on it.
Yeah, so this is.
It will come. It will come. Don't worry.
We've had how many speakers?
100.
It's 104th.
103.
104th. Posted is 103rd, but you're 104th.
We've had a few engagements where we've been really engaged.
I think he's the only guest you invited who's silence for 40 minutes in the morning.
Yeah, we actually
Peace.
took up 40 minutes of silence.
Is it the morning time for this?
No, anytime. I prefer late at night. Late at night.
Oh, just like me.
Like, see, because
Late at night?
Silent night.
So you sleep when?
Good you brought that
3
point.
AM,
You know that song Silent Night, Holy Night.
Yeah.
Now I would.
There is something in the English language that you call keeping watch over the night. Now, if you see the Eastern spiritual philosophy, the times of the day and night are divided into equal halves. Each of the halves have a particular significance. Now, if you see classical music in India, especially in the north of India, the most talented virtuosos and the little eccentric crazy people, they teach classes only between 12 and 4 in the morning. Now these are what you would call unearthly hours by normal civilization, but that's also the most quietest, most dead period of the night. Which is why all your senses and your nerves and your organs, everything is open to rejuvenation and absorption. So you can do it early in the morning when it's a bit alive, when the birds start chirping, or before that, or you can do it in the dead of the night. I'm a night person, I like the night. So
Even Kalari, they practice very early, right?
Very early.
Very early.
Namaz, Brahma Muhurtam, time is.
See, the point is, if you can wake up like 45 minutes prior to Fajr and do your reflection and maintain a daily diary, that actually happens only properly in Ramadan time, but you should probably do it the whole of the 365 days. Now you do it for 30 days in Ramadan because it's compulsion. What will other people think if I don't do it? But if you imagine, if you multiply that effect, like you do 10 days of itkaf, you do it throughout the 365 days, it will blow your mind off.
True magical what you said, because that time is like, as you said, like throughout the day it's crowded. Now that time you are unique.
No, and what happens is, like Masa says, things will start aligning. You will start being able to control the emotions of people. You will not get nonsense in your life, because that will all divert and go to other people, because like attracts like, because you're so sorted stuff, like the deck of cards, the sorted stuff comes to you, and you'll be surprised what this card says, because it's probably
because every speaker picks up one that resonates.
Nothing surprises anymore.
So you
Samir's in his conversations.
So you want to know what the card is?
Yeah.
Life is a journey to self-mastery.
Wow.
So if you want to sum up in one line whatever I said in the last 2 hours, simple.
Life is a journey to self-mastery.
Life is a journey
Towards self-mastery.
Woo! Lovely.
Why did it have
Thank
to
you
end?
so much.
Sorry, can I ask one last
You have a question?
do you ever have a regret that your father is not there to see your success? Or
Sure.
Physically, yes, maybe, but for the amount of people who say that if he was here he would have been proud, that makes a difference. And it's an interesting point you raised, because you know how famous people are famous? Because many people talk about them all the time. Like in spirituality and in the English language, it's much a word now, the word called mantra. Mantra means any chant, or it also means systematic repetition of even a phrase over and over again. If I were to say Gaurav, Gaurav, Gaurav like 108 times in a day, he will get a promotion in 41 days for sure.
No, don't say Gaurav, go say Iman.
Yeah, but the question Iman is how many people are saying Iman with love and affection and genuine sincerity towards you, that they want you to, if they're saying it with a good intention, then you will get a promotion. If they're saying it with a bad intention, so the question is, how many people are praying for you without your permission and without your knowledge, just because they want to see you do well in life? That is only possible if you have done enough well for other people in life, that like I said, that balance is so skewed that God gives you the royal flush. Enough, take it. I can't give you enough. You've loaded and loaded and loaded much more. So every opportunity you get, even a speaking opportunity. Today I spoke for 2 hours. I didn't know how the time went, but it's not the 120 minutes what made the difference. 120 into the number of you. That many lives were impacted if you feel it made an impact. If it didn't, then some speakers, after they come and go, you feel like a train has run over you, because you're like so juiced out. Because either something of him didn't resonate with you, or you were too much in a negative phase at that point of time, that you were not mature enough to absorb what he was saying. But as long as there's electricity, I can see 2 hours we've gone by, not one person is like, on the bean. All the bean bags are erect, spines are erect, and except my family who's looking at me like, okay, now don't get too carried away, time to go home. But but because they're used to this, they're like, enough man, enough. So,
You know you're wise.
so they're like, enough, today's quota is over. If you want, Samir will call you tomorrow, but don't do this. So, no, because they know that if I really want to go on, I can go on till 6 in the morning and I won't have any energy drop. Not because I'm strong, because the energy you give me is the energy that I can sustain. There's a loop between us. It's called biofeedback.
Yeah.
So you get it a lot with kids. I do a lot of training with kids because they have an open, pure soul. If you spend at least 40 minutes to 1 hour in a day with children, even if they criticize you or abuse you, that's good energy because you're getting some sort of repair work done. If you spend 70% of your time with children, in 6 months' time you'll be far more intelligent, far more positive, and you'll start getting results. Because kids are shameless, fearless, and wise.
Shameless,
fearless, and wise. Why I say shameless? Because they will blast you royally straight on your face. They don't really care what you think. Fearless because, like someone said, we have to teach them fear. Otherwise, they don't know what fear is.
Correct.
Why you teach them fear?
Yeah, that's not fair.
No,
no?
we do not. Don't touch.
Better than telling them don't touch the fire, let them touch the fire. Then they'll understand this not to be touched. That is good. So, if you spend time with kids, you will.
What is the age group you?
But what makes the kids wise?
Before the age of 10.
They don't need to. They need to.
Yeah, because after that it gets corrupted slowly. You get sophisticated.
God, 10 is still so young.
Yeah, the younger the better. The younger the better. Or another option is spend time with people who are over the age of 80, 85.
Those are children again.
Yeah, they are children.
No, those are children again, but you get an added bonus. In Eastern spirituality, we call people who have crossed the age of 85 as people who have had the fortune of seeing 1,000 full moons. Now, obviously, if you calculate 85, it's actually 1,000 full moons.
But next week somebody.
So that's
senile, no?
That's what we think.
Oh.
And in Japan, there's this amazing practice where grandparents sleep with grandchildren, hugged close to them, skin to skin. Why? Because they're like, if I pass away in the night, before I pass away, let all my accrued energy, experience, everything go to the child.
Really?
Yeah, they do that. There's a name for that in Japanese. I don't know the name of the practice, but they do it. Small, only until the age of 5 or 6. After that, if they sleep with the child, that's bad for their health because the child has a lot of negativity which will affect their health also. So
The timing as well?
the age.
Age.
Yeah.
So this is before the age of 5.
Before between 0 to 6.
Okay.
That is the purest child.
Oh.
If you can, hold them, be with them, that's like massive energy charge.
Wow.
Even if they are not your kids.
Oh, anybody's kid.
We are going on till 6, right?
Yeah.
Where's the biryani?
They started sweating.
So recap, spend time with kids. 30, 40, 30.
Explain the 30, 40, 30.
See, 30% is what you need. 30% is what you don't need. 40% is what you get in the reflection from what you need. Choose it with any task, you will reach somewhere. So spend 60 to 80% time with kids or people who are more intelligent than you. Be greedy for life, be greedy for knowledge. Because if you have life and knowledge, everything else can come. You can recreate it. It's not difficult. Associate with people who are far beyond your league, because if you don't reach the stars, at least you'll fall on the moon. One of the things will happen. And more than anything else, lastly, be healthy, because if you die soon, nothing's going to happen. And have grace, and see, only if you have gratitude, you will get grace. Very simple. If you're not thankful, even for something like this, when I close today, which is now, I'm going to say thank you everyone for listening to me for the last 2 hours.
You can say that.
I'm saying that. No, I'm saying that. I'm saying that. And I say it with a lot of openness of heart. Thank you everyone for the last 2 hours, because I don't know what I have done to you, but you have given me a lot of energy, whether you realize it or not. So my battery is full. So yeah, my battery is still, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
For.
Wow, Iman saying thank you.
Not to you. So thank you very much for making me realize how blessed I am, even though I know, but more. and especially on that reflection now on the last part when you said like when you are I don't know what age, but like when you are like
23.
Yeah, no, when you are small, when you are spending time with
Children.
Older people. So I remember my childhood when I was spending with my grandmother and then her mother as well.
Wow,
so,
lucky.
Yeah, I think I have kind of something like I never realized. Now, thank you for that insight. So
it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And it does a service to them also, because a lot of old people are now dying lonely. And there's nothing more sad than having no one to care for you when you're very, very old. I'm not talking about the middle old people like 60 to 70, 70 to 80 who are healthy. There are people who have been amazing people in their life. They've been scientists, they've been astronauts, they've been bankers, they've been business people. A lot of wealth of knowledge. Their own kids dump them in old age homes or they dump them in hospitals. I've actually taken trips to old age homes in India where I've met stockbrokers. Once upon a time, they were the big guys in Bombay Stock Exchange. The wealth of knowledge that they have, the insight, they just need someone to talk to because their own children don't talk to them anymore. They're in some mommy papa house, which is a old age home. And you go and sit with them, it's like taking a financial investments class. They will teach you life, they will teach you money, and they'll teach you how to do both successfully as well, just because you wanted to spend time with them.
Wow. Yeah.
So you may not be rich in money, but everyone has the same 86,400 seconds a day. That's your bank balance, 24 hours. If you don't have money, invest your time, money will come. But if you invest your money, there's no guarantee time will come, you can't get it back. Okay, enough.
That's his PR.
That's your sister?
Yeah, that's my sister. You can call her that. But she will be like, no, I'm not too old to be his sister. But good friend, we grew up together. She handles my PR for me as well. And also, she's also.
It's the most effective PR. I've seen Nancy Alexander's. You follow him, you'll.
And not only that, she also has CP, like me, even though she doesn't look like it. I do. So, fair enough.
Now you'll handle his PR correctly.
No, she drives, I don't. So,
Driver.
yeah, I have a driver. Yeah, I don't do the grocery, I don't do the laundry, I have a driver. So, last tip, if you want to succeed in life, find people who can do the work with you and for you with the same passion that you have towards life. Simple. That doesn't mean you marry multiple wives, but do what it takes.
Okay.
And now some people are allowed to marry 4 wives, you go 4 wives. So otherwise one is too much to handle. So find the right people, surround yourself. Everything else will be happening in life. Quite simple.
Thank you so much. Thank you.